Hi everyone, welcome back to Aidans Railways. Now, regular viewers of the channel will remember back in August, September of last year, I actually purchased this. This was the all-new tooled Princess Margaret Rose from Hornby, and it was over £200 just for that locomotive. And it is a wonderful locomotive, and I had to have one purely because of my memories of seeing Princess Margaret Rose on the Settle and Carlisle Railway when I was younger, and I'd always intended to get a hold of Princess Elizabeth as well. Now, that being said, over £200 and Hornby's recent price increases have made me think twice about paying for specific locomotives unless I really need or want them. As a result, I'd been looking around potentially to try and see if I could pick up a second-hand Princess Elizabeth, and I was very lucky when I visited the model shop. If you're new to the channel or you haven't already, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, click on the bell icon, select all, and you'll be notified every time we upload new content. So on a recent visit to the model shop, Durham Trains of Stanley, Mick had recently took in some second-hand train sets, and in amongst them all was this the Royal Train. So this set goes back to about 2005, I believe, and in that you have got two Mark III coaches and a Mark II, as well as Princess Elizabeth. It's got some track and it's got a Hornby controller, probably one of the better Hornby controllers that was actually supplied with train sets. Now, I got this at a very good price. I'm not going to say what it was, but I did get it at a very good price, and very good for one reason, because this set has not actually been used. It's all still present in its original packaging inside. All of the documentation hasn't been opened, but I'm filming this now. I have took out the locomotive to actually check on it and see if it works, because 17 years inside a box, if it's never been run, it's going to be a bit stiff. Let's get inside the box and let's have a look close up of what you actually do get. So I've taken Princess Elizabeth here out of its area in the box off camera, purely because it's incredibly tight to get the locomotive out of these polystyrene trays. They were incredibly tight, and they had little blocks of polystyrene packaging also holding it in place. But I can assure you, until I took it out to run it, to check on it, this thing's never been out of the box. You can see it's never been out of the box. In fact, the tissue on the controller is still intact with the sellotape, the same as the power pack. All of the packaging, everything, everything is still as it was when it was put in. Someone bought it, never used it. 17 years sat in its box. So there we go. So we'll take a close-up look at the locomotive and its rolling stock in a second. We'll just have a quick look at this track and the controller. So we've got an oval of track and a couple of sidings with some points as well. There's actually quite a lot of short straight track there for a power connector. There's four of the curves there. We've got another four curves there, two sets of their points, two short curves, and some more short straights. And they're all still sparkling clean, absolutely never been used, these things, but they'll come in good use for spares. We've got a box of additional items here. So we've got the front coupling there, brake rods, and we've got little instructions for actually fitting these. So some are for the tender, some are for the loco, I will believe. Yes, we've got a sort of medium-sized D-shaped coupling there to be fitted at the front, on the front pony truck, along with the screw. So we've got the extras there. There are a couple of buffers as well. Just put this controller out. So this is, in my opinion, I've always thought that these were one of the better Hornby controllers that were supplied with train sets. They're a bit more sturdy and they seem to have a bit more power to them. We've also got the additional output here of 16 volts AC for your accessories. And even the controller itself is a bit more sturdy. You can see there that the wires haven't even been out of the tissue paper. So we'll slot that back in. It's always nice to have one of those controllers. And we've got the transformer there, and you can see there, same here, tissue paper still wrapped around the wires themselves. So I'm going to take out the coaches, I'm going to take the locomotive, we're going to put them onto the white background so you can see a little bit better. So just before we move on to the locomotive and coaches, I thought it would be interesting just to have a look inside this packet, because it has not been opened. So this is the actual track mat and instruction leaflets. You can still see all the seals still on there, hasn't been opened, and you can see all this. But what interested me was the actual date on top of this instruction leaflet. So I'm going to try and carefully pull that out. There we go. So what interests me there is the fact that it's actually got its R1057 and it's got the 2nd 05, so the second month 2005. So this really does go back. So inside it's also got some instructions on lubrication, which this loco is almost definitely going to need. I have had it run but it definitely needs a bit of a service before we go anywhere for fear of damaging it. It tells you how to remove the body from the loco itself and replacing the motor should you need to. So yeah, I'm going to keep those to one side because we're going to need them. Let's have a look at this. This is the Hornby Collector Club application form from that year. And let's just see if this has got a date on it. So this has got a valid until the 31st of the 1st, 2005. So potentially it could be 2004, but I think this is definitely 2005, this particular set. Anyone remember Hornby Virtual Railway? Well, there we go. I think I've still got a copy of that on disc, but it's still advertising the Virtual Railway there. This is quite solid and robust, this as well. This is the Hornby Train Set Owner's Manual. And it's got everything you need to know. It's actually, they're quite good. I think they should have these still available, as they are really very solid books. They're not just a piece of paper as a leaflet, but it's got all of the bits and pieces for that. And we've got official service dealers and operators around the country all entered on this leaflet here. Now I actually remember when Townfoot Models was at Alston Model Railway Centre near the South Tynedale Railway, but no longer there, I believe. And we've got the 2005 available locos poster as well. I do like them, they're nice to go on the wall. And we've got the track mat, so I thought it'd be interesting just to have a look in there and see what was available at the time, seeing as this had never been opened. And yeah, so 2005, 17 years old at the time of recording. So let's get to coach number one, and coach number one here is a Mark II. So this is referred to on the packaging as a sleeper power brake coach. Ordinarily it just looks like a Mark II brake, but obviously it's got sleeper compartments inside, or areas in which are used as sleepers, power compartment and things like that. I do find it interesting how the springs on the bogies are different colours. So we've got like a purple colour here on the springs and a green colour here on the springs on the bogies. It's in that lovely colour for the Royal Train, and I do like the way in which it looks like it's made to look as if we've got your neck curtains in the background. Now I tried something similar on the camping coach project and I just used tracing paper, but this does look so much better. So it's got a running number of 2921, and we've got some fine print detail on the boxes underneath the coach as well. So it's quite nice, got a good weight to it, nice metal wheels. So there we are, metal wheels. Back in 2005 we were getting metal wheels on train sets. So yeah, and on the ends here we've got some print detail fitted as well. It looks really quite nice. The rest's all just moulding. I have no idea how old the tooling was for this at the time, but it still looks quite good. So we've got plastic buffers as part of the chassis, but yeah, it looks really nice. We've got that grey on the roof as well as on the bogies and the chassis. It looks very nice, and it has got a really very nice good weight to it, so I'll just put that to the top there. So next up we've got the two Mark IIIs, and these two Mark IIIs will be Mark IIIAs, I would imagine, because of the fact that they're fitted with buffers and they're not part of an HST at the time. So one is the Queen's personal saloon and one is the Duke of Edinburgh's personal saloon. If I can get a hold of some more of these, there's a sleeper available. I know there's a sleeper available and a couple of other coaches as well. So we'll try and get a hold of some more of these coaches to run with it. Now I did get a hold of a coach a while back, but it was actually one of these shorter Mark IIIs, and it just wouldn't look right if I put it amongst these. So there's a good possibility that shorter Mark III will soon find its way being sold somewhere, as it just won't fit in with these. So let's have a look. We've got a typical Mark III. I'm assuming this looks very similar to the old, I would imagine this is the Lima tooling that Hornby got hold of. It's about the right time, and it's a scale length Mark III, so there we go. So we've got that grey roof again, we've got the neck curtain kind of appearance on all of the windows. Royal crests, and on this one the running number of 2904. As with the Mark II, we've got different coloured springs between both sides of the bogies. So on this one we've got yellow springs on the bogie and green on this side, and they are mirrored both sides. All of the detail on this side is absolutely identical to that on the other side. One thing I do find interesting is though that these are just the Mark III toolings. There's nothing different about these Mark III toolings, which is quite unusual considering that the short stubby Mark III Hornby Royal Coach, which I believe was the Queen's Saloon, actually had the difference of having a double door on one side, modified for ease of access, I would imagine, for the Queen, or maybe at one point the Queen Mother, to get in and out. And these just appear to be the standard Mark III toolings with the buffers placed in at both ends. But Either way, very nice. We have got the snap out couplings, so I could change those D-shaped couplings to smaller ones if I wanted to. They're not NEM, but they are, you can change them. And if we have a look at the end here, we've got some fine print detail again on the ends of the coaches. Some of it not quite so straight. Some of the actual panel detail there, some of the panel print there is a slightly ski with, or it might just be my eyes, I'm not entirely sure, but these do look very nice, and it would be nice to get hold of some more. And the other one exactly the same. So there is the coaching stock, 2 Mark IIIs and a Mark II. So let's move over to Lizzie herself. So we've got Lizzie here, Princess Elizabeth 6201 LMS Princess Royal class locomotive, and this is in the preserved guise because we've got our warning flashes at the top here. So this is Loco Drive, freewheeling tender, and it's not of the new tooling, but still a very good tooling as far as I'm concerned. Looking at it, it'll run very nicely alongside Princess Margaret Rose with very little difference. To be honest, it won't really be that noticeable, and I have saved myself an absolute fortune in this case. But a quick look at the tender here. So the tender has wheel pickups as well, which is transferred through the drawbar here on the locomotive. So we've got lovely rivet detail and things like that on the actual tender body itself. Really nice lining on the chassis and frames along with the steps. As always, we've got our sprung buffers. You can see the print detail on the rear of the tender here with our warning flashes, building plates and capacities for gallons. I think it says 4,000 gallons there of water. So we've got plenty of detail here on the top of the rear, and we've got a coal load which is reasonably okay, very full, very flat. I might have a look. I don't think you can actually take that load out, but it might be worth me dusting it up with some coal dust just to give it a little bit more of a realistic look. Brake pipes are already fitted. It's got a imitation coupling hook at the back. We've got a mid-sized D-shaped coupling at the rear, which by the looks of it is a snap out one, so I could change that if I wanted to. And again, on the other side, we've got some handrails. They do appear to be separately fitted, and all of the rivet detail as well. Again, it's got a very good weight to this. Like, I've got to say, this has got quite a good weight to it. You would, in the old days, you would have thought it was a Ringfield motor inside there with the weight of it, but it's very much freewheeling. Nice spoked wheels there at the back, which you can hear a bit of a squeak. They definitely need a bit of lubrication. They have not been run apart from recently when I tested this to make sure it was all okay, having been stood there a while. So I need to give this a service before I actually give it a good run. So we've got plenty of detail in here molded in for handbrakes and water scoops and things like that. Interestingly enough, no trace of a water scoop detailed underneath, but you can see where those brake rods will be fitted as well. Let's have a look at the loco. So there we go, Princess Elizabeth 6201 7P. As I said, a preserved livery, as it has got the electrical warning flashes on the locomotive. Inside we've got molded detail. It is just molded, not actually picked out in paint or anything like that, but you can see it. It is there. It's pretty basic. The roof, I don't think, no, this one is just molded semi-open. It's not variable like on Princess Margaret Rose. Whistle, safety valves, and you can see here how the power is transferred from the tender to the locomotive. So you've got the top pickups there, and you've got the bottom pickups there. So it's picking up both from left and right rail. One thing to be noticed here on this rear pony truck, this is a moving pony truck, unlike that on Princess Margaret Rose. However, when I took this out of the box, it's been sat there for 17 years and this had seized solid. I had to slightly slacken off this particular screw here just to sort of like give it a bit of ease, but I fully intend to put a bit of lubricant in around there just to help it maneuver itself around corners, because it had pretty much just seized up with being stood there as long as it had. While we're underneath, we'll have a look. You can see there's all-wheel pickup on those drive wheels, so there's plenty of pickups between the tender and the locomotive itself. We've got the front pony truck there, no pickups on that, but it looks reasonably solid. I was actually slightly fearful when I picked this up and thought, please don't tell me it's of a batch that was affected by Mazak rot and things like that, but we seem to be pretty safe. Only time will tell. There doesn't seem to be any bits falling apart, but only time will tell. But it is the right age for those problems. Let's have a look. So we've got some rivet detail on the cab itself. Lovely, beautiful lining on it. Our Princess Elizabeth nameplate, our builder's plate there on top of one of the wheel splashes. Very nice valve gear here, looks really nice. All the lining there on the cylinders. The wheels look really quite fine as well. Plenty of rivet detail on the chassis. It's still a good model that stands up, to be perfectly honest, and I don't think it's going to look wrong next to Princess Margaret Rose of the new tooling. We've got sprung oval buffers on the front with our imitation coupling hook, and our brake pipes are already fitted. We've got our 6201 as well on the front of the smoke box. So it's not a bad loco, it's not a bad model itself, and to be honest, at the moment, providing we have no issues with this locomotive, because as I said, it is of the right period for the Great Mazak issues. At the moment, I've saved myself in excess of £100 just on the loco alone. So you could say that for what I paid for the train set, I've saved over £100 on getting Princess Elizabeth, and I've acquired 3 coaches, track and a controller at the same time. So that is a great deal in my eyes. I'm really happy to have now Princess Elizabeth to go with Princess Margaret Rose. Let me know if you've got one of these train sets and what you think about it. Potentially, if I want to run period, I might actually just remove these warning flashes for the electrical overhead wires. But there we go, we have got the Royal Train set, something that quite frankly goes for quite an awful lot of money on the internet, I've noticed, and it's in great condition and it hasn't been used. So that's pretty much it for this episode, and I shall see you again soon. Bye now. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget, if you haven't already subscribed, click on the round button. If you enjoyed this video and you want to watch some more, there's another video at the top of the screen and there's a playlist at the bottom. See you again soon.